Yo, welcome to episode 8 of the Put-On Podcast. Just quickly, before I get to how you are, D, 8 is actually my favorite number. So I am hype that we're on episode 8. This is going to be a good episode. And yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I've been better. I've definitely been
Yeah.
better, but I'm happy about like the point of time that it is right now in the summer.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
And
what
the
is June
weather's
2nd
turning.
today that we're shooting this?
Today's June 3rd,
Okay.
actually.
But beginning of June.
Beginning of June. And I just had my birthday.
Happy birthday. The
Thank
big,
you.
you got a big one coming up, no? Not yet.
Yeah,
Next year.
it was my 30 well, it was my 39th birthday, and it was a tough birthday because just honestly, the night before, on Wednesday night, I played basketball. I play in my weekly basketball
Yeah.
game, and I took like a knee to the thigh going up for a layup.
Yeah.
Right, played through it. Then I like banged my toe into my sneaker. I don't
Yeah,
know
of
if you've ever
course.
done
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Really, really painful. And then like one of the last plays of the game, I turned my ankle. So on my other side, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm done. I get home. I tell my wife, she's like, okay, like, I can't believe it. Like right before your
Yeah.
birthday, I get in bed. I could not fall asleep. I'm turning on one side. I'm sore. I'm turning the other side. I'm sore. And I woke up the next morning and I swear I like couldn't even like, I could barely like move. And I was like, it took me 3 minutes to put on my socks, and I'm 39 years old, and it just was like, here you
Yeah.
go. Like you're fucking, there you go. You're
If
like,
your back
you're
wasn't
falling
sore
apart right
already, it's sore
now. I
now.
know.
Yeah.
But luckily I'm like Wolverine and I'm fully recovered after like, 48 hours.
Good. And you had a good birthday?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Spent it with the family,
I got you. So I do think that we need to address the elephant in the room, be it, and if you're listening to this on audio form, just to set the scene. So Derek and I are both wearing respective sunglasses right now. The reason I'll get into it first, but the reason I've got mine on is recently, a few days ago, I decided to purchase a pair of the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. So Meta being Facebook, and yeah, I mean honestly, I would say that this is one of my best purchases as of recent, in the sense that so these are like sunglasses, like actual Ray-Ban sunglasses that you buy for however
Right.
much, but they have different features. So for example, I can take a photo just clicking my right, like right above the right eye. I can take 30-second videos, and you get to see things from my POV. So the content that's about to come out from content creators, but me specifically, if I stick to a good cadence, is going to be crazy, because you're going to see Cal's travel POV, footy POV, like whatever it is. So I'm excited for that, to share kind of some behind the scenes, and so you can see it from my eyes, which is super cool. But I can also listen to music on these, take phone calls, send texts. I just think, man, technology, like, it's one of those things where I was just like, this is amazing, and I'm still awed by even just like the quality of photos it takes, the quality of video. It's killer. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing these glasses. I will take them off, but I just wanted to say I'm super hyped about these. I'm gonna take a photo right now in real time. Bang. Photo captured. Episode 8.
Yo, the funniest thing is that you sent me that video of like, it was a video that you took from your glasses and your
Yeah.
POV. And I was like, I couldn't figure it out. Like it was I was like, wait, how? I knew what was going on, but I was just
Oh,
still
really?
like, I couldn't like quite
Yeah.
process it. And then when I saw you, what was it, yesterday, and you were wearing the glasses again, I just think it's like funny that you're like, you got these glasses and they're like, your James Bond style glasses. And basically the reason why I'm wearing the glasses that I'm wearing is these are my kids' pit vipers, which they're obsessed
Yep.
with. And I just kind of wanted to like mess with you because I knew you were going to be wearing those glasses. So I wanted to one up you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in functionality, I don't know if the Pit Vipers one up me, but yeah, they look good on you. So we'll. I'm gonna throw the glasses off right now. Um,
We'll do the same.
but yeah, what else? What else is going on in your world?
Well, I think it's funny that, the last time that we were on the episode, obviously, both of our teams were in the playoffs. We were still
Yeah.
hopeful, right? I think, is that right? We're
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
in the
the Oilers were down 1-0. The Knicks were down, or no, the Knicks were 1-1, and I was telling you they were gonna get clapped up
oh yeah,
game
yeah,
3, but, uh
right. And now we're even past, the next series. We're now in the finals, but um I think you mentioned to me the other day something around like the fact that, isn't it funny that you realize kind of like how much of a distraction those, your sports kind of play in your life. And that definitely resonated with me because I base my entire kind of like non-working day
yeah,
around watching those
yeah.
games. And now I'm just like free as a bird, just like to do nothing really. But it frees up a whole bunch of time that you would be spending kind of like watching the games and reading the
Yeah, I mean,
articles.
I think I was telling you that like it's 3 to 4 times a week. That whole night is a write-off because, everyone's getting hyped up for the game. Maybe you're doing some before, maybe you're doing some if they win after. And just like the amount of time spent over, sports seasons watching sports, which at the end of the day, like it's entertainment. So, we do need our dose of entertainment, but it is a distraction. And it was one of those things for me where, you know, I was so invested in the playoffs and just the Oilers and the amount of energy that I spent on that. Now I'm kind of, I've got that, I've got the time, and I'm able to put my energy elsewhere that's probably more productive, just because I'm feeling super motivated and passionate right now. So, yeah, I mean, it's as much as it was a bummer, like I kind of took it as a positive and hey, like, I've got more time now to do shit that I need to get done or I want to get done. So,
How long does it take you to kind of like turn it around? To
like,
like you lose
yeah.
you lose the series, you're done. Like, is it a 24-hour thing? Is it like 2 days? What is
So
it?
this is funny. Did I never told you about my them losing the series and like my reaction and stuff? Did I?
I just saw you were like angry online. That's all
Okay.
I that's all I
Well,
know.
so I was at the game, like the game 6 where they were down 3-2. I was
Yeah.
attending that, so I was in person, and for me, I had a lot of money on the Oilers to win the series, so it's kind of a double whammy. So yeah, I mean, I was at the game with a buddy. Everyone was like, "Yeah, it's going 7 games at least. We've got the 2 best players in the league." And, yeah, they kinda got killed, lost 4-2, and, I remember coming out of that game and the 3 of us, were everyone was very upset, but I was taking my anger out on the goalie saying, like, "I think if the Oilers had an average goalie, we'd win the cup." Like, I saying he's below
Yeah.
average, all this, because he was soft in the playoffs, he wasn't good, and they, are big Stuart Skinner, who was the goalie stand, so they weren't having it. And then, you know, we get back to their place, and yeah, I needed to cool down, decompress. I was very annoyed, so
Right.
yeah, I took like a 6 hour walk and ended up getting back to like my spot at like 5 a.m. and it was like a Tuesday, so I'm shattered for. I don't even think I slept that night. I just rolled straight into the work day, like canceled a couple.
A six
Yeah,
hour
it was
walk.
insane. It was.
6 hours.
Yeah, I was listening. I was listening to music. I maybe listened to a pod. Like I was outside though, enjoying and walking, and yeah, and then whatever. The next day, it probably depending on the team. I would say like for me, Chelsea is the be all end all. If Chelsea like
Yeah.
lost a big game, I'd be down bad about it until the next week, like until there was another game. Oilers, yeah, it was probably took me 48 hours. No one in the house talked to each other, and then 48 hours later, we were back.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right. I mean, by the way, the long walk is always good to just blow off steam, like just walk it out, right?
Yeah,
Like it's always good to just kind of like go through all the things in your mind and kind of like unpack it all and just walk
yeah.
and get that that all of that built up like, aggravation and frustration out. But yeah, it takes up so much time
Crazy amount.
and you and it's just when you really take the step back and think about just of being a fan and like the fandom of it
Yeah.
all and like they're just regular people, just like you and I, and
I
it's hard to see it until you get older, and like you realize like, oh, these guys are young guys, right? Like in relation to me,
Yeah,
right at
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
point.
Y-
And
y-
I don't know. Just I just think it's tough when you're in
And
it,
you know
right?
what I find crazy is just like the emotional connection. I mean, that all of us sports fans have, but like that I notice myself having to, a team, and more specifically, like specific players where it's like,
Yeah,
like for example, a guy who came up from the Chelsea Academy and won some trophies with us, and is early in his career is set to leave. And like, bro, I'm like seeing videos of him on TikTok. I'm seeing different social videos, and like, I feel like I'm going through a breakup. Like I'm down bad when like, it's like all of the memories that like we could make together, like the
yeah.
club and him, and like now we're losing out on, 10 years of memories and success, and I'm not gonna see him play anymore. Like, bro, it feels like a breakup. Like it's insane that I'm
Yeah.
feeling that way. But that's how
Well, it's not, no, it's not insane because I have the same feelings. Like I have like Brunson, where it's just like I'm in love. I'm like head over heels in love. He's just my guy. It's like first year one, and I'm already like he's the guy. But then my other guy is quickly,
I like
and
Emmanuel.
all,
Yeah, yeah.
I love him. I love him. I love his game. Just like the enthusiasm he plays with and the energy. And sometimes I'll be reading about the Knicks and it'll be like, you know, there's some rumors that they'll give up quickly in a trade to acquire the superstar. And it's the same way. I'm so protective. I'm like, no, like not quickly. Like quickly's my guy. Like you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
give up quickly. Like, and yeah, you're right. When they leave, there's like this feeling that you have. It's almost hard for somebody that's a professional athlete to relate to that fan
I bet, yeah.
perspective of having the emotional attachment,
Yeah.
right? Because they're just like, that guy's crazy. I'm just like, I'm a professional athlete, but I'm a human being. And you are like somebody that's either, you know, obviously if you're younger and you're a kid, it's all good. But when you're like middle aged and like
Yeah,
older, it's a little bit
no
strange,
doubt.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's interesting.
It is. There's an interesting dynamic for sure.
Um, so should we jump into the segments?
Yeah, let's do it.
So again, we're going back. We've done it every episode. Hit me with an idea that you've had over the last couple of weeks.
Okay. Um, so this idea was kind of born out of the fact that I had a piece of furniture in my house that my wife wanted to get rid of. Basically, it was like this like rocking type
Yeah.
chair that we had for my youngest son, Freddie, where it was really like from when he was a baby. It was like one of those chairs that like a mom would sit with like a baby on and like rock.
Yeah,
But it was like it's like a nice like recliner
sure.
chair, and she wanted to get rid of it. And so like we were either just gonna put it on the sidewalk or give it away. And we ended up giving it away. And anyways, I was just thinking like part of the reason that I had such like a anxiety about doing that was just because like I felt like it was worth
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something. So my idea is basically something that I'm calling it like for what it's worth, basically like the acronym
Yep.
FWIW. And it would be a online. I always have to preface this with maybe this already exists. People always, oh, that's Amazon or whatever. But like it's an online database where you could put in any type of piece of furniture, product, um, any type of collectible. If it's like a piece of furniture, like you would put the make and model and like how long you've had it, and it would basically just give you an estimated value of what that thing is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I like that.
So you know what I mean? So like how much something costs, because if I knew something was $500, I'm probably not going to throw it out or give it away. I'll probably try and sell it. And by the way, like
That
down the road of for what it's worth, it would have a marketplace
yeah,
in this
yeah, this is
hypothetical
you're
scenario.
talking the beta version.
Exactly. But the whole point being like whether it's like a basketball card or like a painting or a sofa or a table, whatever, I just kind of want to know how much it's worth in the different condition and on this site app,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. it would basically show you like, oh, if it's in good condition, it's worth this much. If it's what, if it's in medium condition, it's worth that much. Poor condition, you know what I mean? So like, gives you some idea of how much fucking something
And
is worth.
I'm gonna take your idea and take it to the next level, because I think that, I don't know if you've ever, so I just got like a new phone probably a couple months ago, and like when you go
Mhm.
into the Apple store, they'll use their, like, to get trade-in value for your old phone, they like scan their iPhone or whatever they've got it working at the Apple store on yours, and like automatically after scanning in the photo of the phone, it says, oh, this is worth $370, and then it says little scratch on the right, like good, whatever, and it lists out all these things. I think like your idea, instead of having to input like 2009 chair, whatever, decent condition,
You would
because
just take a
that's
picture of it.
subjective. Yeah, it's like it's an app where it's taking a photo,
Mhm.
analyzing the photo, and like it probably will need to use AI for that, just because I've seen things like that. But and then it's able to say, hey, this looks like it's in great condition. I can tell it's a chair, and looks like a 2010. Like, it's obviously not going to be completely accurate, but looks like a chair from 2010, and it should be worth $400 because these are the last 5 sales of similar things. I think I
I
think
love
that
that. I
that's a real
love
thing.
I love that you just did that because here, I'll give you one more very quick example. The other day, my dryer breaks, right? It's like a piece of shit
Yeah,
dryer. And I'm trying to like get it repaired. And everybody always says, like, oh, sometimes it's going to cost more to like get it repaired than it would
get
be
a
to
new one.
just get a new
Yeah,
dryer. Right. So
right.
I have this guy come over, and his name is Jay, whatever. And he basically says, yeah, I got to get a part, like whatever. And then I call him up and like he's going to come back and he's going to repair it with the new part. The guy comes back, he repairs it with a new part. It's not Jay, it's his brother Ray. I don't know what's going on, right? He puts this new part on. He goes, "Okay, it's all ready." He basically charged me like I feel like I got scammed, and he charged me like $280 to fix this thing that his brother Jay, which I didn't even know like he had an identical brother, told me that it was only gonna be like 120. And so, long story short, if I had just known how much that dryer was worth, and it's a piece of shit dryer, like I probably should have just gone out and got a new
Yeah,
dryer, but I end up spending
on Ray.
$280 on a fucking piece of shit dryer to repair it. I'm so pissed. Shouts to Jay and Ray for scamming me on the dryer
I
though.
hope they listen to this. um, yeah, no, I feel you. I think that's the next iteration. I definitely, again, the there's lots that we have here. So if you want any ideas from us, we're selling them.
Tell me what's your half baked idea?
So my half baked idea is around the fact, and there's already things like this, but so when I don't love going to the mall, I don't love like going shopping, but like I need new stuff because I've outgrown or whatever, whatever. So I
Yeah.
um I think like something that I was thinking about, and it came from actually these glasses, because I was trying to see these glasses on the site, like on my face, so I could was able to do that, but it wasn't good quality, and I was struggling to tell like if they look good or not. And so I was just thinking
Yeah.
like, and some specific sites have that, but I was thinking, why not have a one-stop shop where it's an online portal that you enter, like, and you can like have it scan your body, and it'll essentially create like an avatar of your body on the thing, and then
Mhm.
it's an extension. So if I go on to let's just do Urban Outfitters, because I think that's in the States and Canada. I go into Urban Outfitters, I put like 4 different things in the cart or in the try on room. I then plug this extension in, it takes those 4 things, brings it to my 3D avatar, and then I can put the clothes on it, or the sunglasses or the accessories or whatever, and see like how it would look on my shirt, on myself, because like I wear a medium, for example, but like different sites, mediums don't all fit the same. So some, like, the sleeves are too tight. So I'd be able to see like, okay, on this avatar, the sleeve goes up to like halfway up my bicep. Okay, that's a little too tight for me. I don't want that. Let's try the large. Oh, the shirt looks good. Maybe you can mix and match outfits. Like, I think that there's a real thing here with this. And again, like utilizing AI language models, like being able to create an extension portal that syncs to all these different shopping sites where, again, like you're able to try on different things and see the exact fit. And if you like it, it just like, to me, it's a no brainer. And yeah, I think it's got some legs. I might move forward with this.
Damn, bro. I love that
Yeah.
idea. I feel like I'm in 2023 and you're in like 3023 right now with that idea. That's a great one. I feel like I should put on my future glasses just for
No,
that
like
idea.
I
No,
actually think there's something there
bro,
though.
I got a name for you. I was thinking of a name for you as you were saying it. It's AI need a medium.
AI need a medium. I like that. I like that. Remember that. Yeah.
Cause yo, I don't like shopping
No.
either. And I like the idea of just being able, like, I don't know if this is exactly how you explained it, but like of being at like whatever clothing store, let's say it's Bloomingdale's, right? Like, and you're just in there and you could just kind of look at all the things that are on the rack and go up to it and whatever, and then like pick it and then like get your size, and then it
Get
shows
on you. Yeah.
how it looks on
Yeah.
you. And like that that's such a better in between, as opposed to just going on an online like store and just picking something out and it just showing up and you having no idea how it's going to
Yeah.
look on
And
you,
then
or actually going to the place and like physically doing
and
it, which is
any
just
any business that saves individuals a significant amount of time
yeah.
is a business that I want to be in and is a good business. So I think that, yeah, I think that there's something there. Let's jump to the next segment, which is podcasts. Is there a good podcast that you've listened to as of recent?
Yeah, I've been waiting to tell you about this podcast. And honestly, I feel like my wife would make fun of me because I've just been on a crazy UFO and alien tip
Yeah.
lately, for a lot of different reasons. But the main reason is because I listened to this episode of Joe Rogan with a guy named James Fox,
Yeah.
right? And this guy, James Fox, I guess, has been tracking pretty much every single UFO alien like encounter uh for the last whatever his entire life. It feels like 50
Yeah.
years, 60 years or so. He's made documentaries. His I think it's his latest documentary. It's called Moment of
Okay.
Contact. Um and it's all about this like one case in Brazil. And I know I told you a little bit about it in Virginia, Brazil, I think it's
Yeah.
called. Of like, it's like there's all these different UFO what's it called? Like reports, people like, saying like the sightings,
Yeah.
right? And this one apparently happened in a Brazilian town where like it happened in broad daylight and like something crashed and there were things that were outside of the like the craft, and three sisters apparently saw it. And basically, again, this is all from
Yeah.
this is all like very well documented in this documentary, which I haven't even seen yet. But then like apparently a police officer and somebody, they show up, they pick the thing up and put it into a police car, bring it to a hospital. And then at the hospital, the army kind of like, or
Yeah.
whatever, the intelligence
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
Brazil intervenes, makes the doctor take an x-ray of it in a body bag and doesn't let the doctor see it. And then apparently the USA came in and like, took over authorization and brought it back to
Really?
America. And then it's this whole story because the person that apparently touched whatever this thing was ended up dying like very, very shortly thereafter, after being like exposed to
Holy
it.
shit.
So, okay. It's just like, it's a crazy, amazing alien episode of Joe Rogan. And what's so impressive just about the guy who he's interviewing, James Fox, is that this guy just has such an unreal memory of all of the events, of all of like the accounts of all the witnesses, of all the names of their people. Like he recalls all, he does callbacks for all of their, who, like, what their exact name is and what their recollection of what happened was. And it's just fascinating because from case to case, there's a lot of times there's like consistency of these reports of like different UFOs. He calls them UAPs, which is like this new kind of abbreviation that I've heard, which stands for an unidentified aerial phenomena.
Okay, I've never heard that.
But he tries to position it in this way where it's like he is just recounting what these different people have said, and like what they've told him and, of their different
Yeah,
experiences. And so it's just fascinating. It's fascinating. And there are times where like a lot of like the reports are happen to be in like naval
okay.
bases and any places where there's like nuclear sites or nuclear
Yep.
weapons. I have a couple theories on that, right? Like, let's just play the hypothetical of like aliens exist, right?
Yep.
Don't you think that naval bases or places where there are weapons, like,
Wouldn't.
and any like defense system,
Yeah.
any defense like things like of our world, wouldn't the aliens kind of want to know that?
Yeah.
Like if they're coming to like do recon, isn't that kind
What
of
they'd like to
like
see.
makes
Yeah, I think that
sense?
makes sense.
Here's my fun theory that would never happen, but like I'm just gonna throw out there. What if they're like really chill aliens and they're just coming to
Check
like
it out.
invite? I made this scenario in my head the other day where I was showering, thinking like, what if they just wanted to invite us to come back to their planet and just like they're having a party and they're inviting a bunch of people from other planets and like, come through and hang
I
with us,
mean,
kick it with
yeah,
us.
I don't think anything's out of the realm of possibility, honestly.
Yeah, but I think when you listen to it, this guy's so passionate about it, and you know, if I think the thing that he's made his whole life's mission is devoted to like trying to find out the truth
Yeah.
of like what is going on, and it feels like either a bunch of people are lying, which is definitely possible, or have like experienced things that maybe like who knows why they've made
Yeah.
these like reports on different UFOs, whatever. Or maybe there's something that like they're not telling us, and it could be for any reason. It could be because like it's a national security
Yep.
thing. It could be because it's we actually have advanced technology that we don't want to like show
Yeah.
other countries, right? There's so many kind of like things that could be the reason for, but it just feels like there's too many of them. It
Yeah.
just feels too coincidental,
I
you
agree.
know?
Yeah, I'm super interested. Like, again, weren't you saying on a previous episode that someone was saying, the American people deserve to know? Like, yeah, there's too many
Right.
hints and tidbits, like, for there not to be something going on that's bigger.
This guy makes the point, right? That basically like all of these memos keep coming out where like they're talking about UAPs and they're talking about UFOs, and that they're like making different types of like proclamations about like things that need to go to Congress and all there's basically all of these things, and he's like, what is prompting this?
Yeah,
What is prompting this? If there's not something going on, what's with all the paper shuffling
yeah,
and what's with all the
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder too. Again, like, what's the rationale for keeping information? Is it to protect us? Is it like I'm curious the motive?
Yeah, I, I am too. But then when you think about like if there is something, then like where is it coming from and what does it want? To me is like the two of the most curiously like fascinating things in my kind of point of view of just like life. Just it's this thing that everybody has been so curious about for so long is like, is there life out there? Where are they? How are they getting here? If they're getting here and they're so much more advanced than us, right? Like it's obviously we can't get it to anywhere
Yeah,
else. So clearly they're going to be more advanced
yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
us. And I don't know. I could think about it for days. And by the way, that clip that you referenced before, the Spielberg clip, shout out to our guy Steve, who's been cutting up some clips for us. Like we've been doing these reels and throwing out some videos on IG and TikTok, and one of them popped off
It
and
was a
had
Spielberg clip, yeah.
it had like 37,000 views right now, counting. And we don't have a lot of followers or a lot of people that are like following us. So that was just cool to see.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people care about UFOs. I guess, like that's my main takeaway. And aliens, a lot
Yeah,
of people,
definitely
there's a big
interesting topics of
community
conversation. 100%.
for sure. Okay. Tell me about like a podcast that you've listened to recently.
Yeah, so I'm kind of on the health kick right now. And the Pomp podcast is Anthony Pompliano. He's like super big tech biz content guy. And yeah, the one I listened to was Daniel Kelly, who's like a health expert guru on 10 ways to increase your testosterone. Just because, so for me, and we talked about it previously, but like I don't sleep very much.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is definitely lacking just between like, everything that's going on and all the things that I want to get done throughout the day, and then having things going on at night and staying up late and having to be up 7 a.m. for work. And so, like I'm always finding myself kind of low energy and kind of like, instead of attacking the day, I'm kind of on, survival mode sometimes I would say. And so as of like the last month, I felt really good with some of the habits that I've kind of been changing and just kind of my day to day routine. But so, they discuss things like grounding, for example. Like, so for me, every morning now, before I like do anything, even if I open my day with a call, I'll always go outside for 30 minutes and walk. So like start my day like I'm outside. I'm still like maybe doing emails. I'm still on my phone, but I'm walking outside. I'm taking in sunlight because vitamin D is such a big thing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that's been helping. And like grounding is just like, and it just kind of like sets up the day for me is when, and I don't do this all the time or every day, but just like going out into the front yard and just like no socks, no shoes, no nothing, and just like standing on the grass and walking a little bit, and just like you just feel so in touch with yourself. So that's sort of one of the things. And then yeah, man, like just sleep quantity and quality. Doing things like putting your phone away 30 minutes to an hour before you actually want to get to sleep because it's better sleep quality. Certain kind of tidbits like that. So definitely if you're interested in, for me, I'm at a point where I'm looking at different, obviously there's been so many studies done on so many things, and I'm just looking for different ways to improve my quality of life in like a day to day in terms of like myself, my body feeling better, and my mental. So it's one of those things where, any advantage, I feel like an athlete, right? Like any advantage I can get to be sharper at work or sharper with all the side hobbies going on, sharper on the body, like just sharper in general, physically and mentally. I'm looking for those edges now. So yeah, I'm really kind of on that health kick and looking to get advantages that way. So that was why I listened to that pod. It was 30 minutes. It was good. But again, like if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for the podcast.
I like the idea of grounding. I mean, like it's like you're being at one with
Yeah,
nature, right?
exactly.
And because of like it makes sense. A lot of times I'll do like a work day and then I'll come home and I'll be on the train and I'll feel like, just feel like not good. And then I'll drive back to my house and I'll get out of my car and I'll just like take a, deep
Yeah,
breath. And it just feels just
yeah, yeah,
nice to just be outside and just stand there for like a minute and just like, I don't need to go from seat to seat and like, place to place. I just want to be outside and just like get some fresh air.
exactly.
You literally cannot overlook just like getting fresh air,
At all.
like your brain needs it.
Yeah.
Right. All right, man, that's a good one. I'll check that out. I've heard of Pomp and I've read some of him on Twitter.
Hit me with a memorable show, movie, or clip that you've watched.
I'll give a quick one, and then I'll give the one that I want to give. The quick one is like I watched last night the first episode of this show Platonic on Apple
On Apple.
with
Okay.
Seth Rogen and Rose
Yeah.
Byrne. And I thought it was kind of cool. It's basically about a guy, Seth Rogen plays this guy who was like just recently divorced, and Rose Byrne is like married, and they had been
Yeah.
friends, and then kind of had like a falling out when Seth Rogen's character like gets married. But basically, the whole premise is just that like about these two people like having a platonic relationship as like older
Yeah.
adults, which is kind of funny too because like I am of that age, and it's kind of true. Like all of my friends are either friends I've had from like back in the
Yeah.
day or couples friends. I don't have
I hear
like
you.
just random like female friends at this
Yeah.
point. I just have my kids friends parents that I'm friendly with, or just the people that I was
Yeah.
friends with before, whatever. So I think it's an interesting kind of like dynamic, and obviously they're really funny. Both Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. They were in what was the movie that they were in together? Where they, it was the one with Zac Efron.
Oh,
What was that?
yeah.
Where they're next to the frat house. I forget what it's called.
21.
Neighbors? Is it Neighbors?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Wasn't
It was.
Selena Gomez in one of them, the second one?
I don't know. Can't
Okay.
remember. I can't remember. This is like whatever, embarrassing. But anyways, the real show that I wanted to tell you about was because I know that you didn't watch this like growing up, but I did, and it was like such a big part of my childhood. There's a docu series right now on ESPN 30 for 30 about the American Gladiators.
Yeah.
Okay, and I watched the first one the other day. So, do you know anything about the American Gladiators
No.
or no? Man, when I was a little kid, I grew up like watching WWF wrestling,
Yeah.
which was very big on Saturday. But before it would go on, American Gladiators was
Okay.
on. And American Gladiators was like, it was so lit, man. It was like all these guys, right? And girls. But they had these names. They were like Nitro and
Yeah.
Gemini and Thunder and like
Sure.
Malibu and like they were all these jacked, like steroided up, like dudes, and they would compete against regular like Joes
Okay.
from all over the
Yeah.
country. And there were all these sick competitions. So there was like one game called Powerball where you'd have a ball and you'd have to like get it into like a little kind of like thing and you'd have to run and drop it in. But the gladiators would like basically run into you and just like tackle the shit
Okay.
out of you. They wouldn't let you get
Yeah.
in. There was another game where like you would be in one of those balls and you would have to
Yeah.
like like get to certain places and like get up on things and they were trying to knock you off. There was a game where somebody would stand up on a podium with this like automatic like rifle, but it had tennis
Yeah.
balls. And then the guy would run from place to place and they would get these different guns to shoot at a target above the
Okay.
guy and like getting closer and closer. Then they had the joust where it was two guys with these like huge things and they would try and knock each other off. So it was just like these amazing competitions. And for a moment in time, all of these guys were like super famous. They had like toys, they had, all the merchandise. And then it kind of like fizzled out, but it was the precursor for all of these like reality sports competitions in my mind. And so I'm watching the first episode of it the other day, and it's just interesting. It was born out of like it was from like, I think it was Erie, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
where like one of the labor unions used to get together and they would have all these competitions and all these people would go and watch.
Yeah.
And basically like the guy that was running it was like, we have to like take this to Hollywood. Like there's something here.
Yeah.
And like the long story short is all of these guys kind of got famous that were on it, but they weren't like being paid. They signed like bad contracts. There were so many injuries. People like were getting like concussions and like really like catastrophic injuries. There was one guy, I forget what his name is, but basically I think his name was Thunder. Like he had like things that messed him up for life and got like addicted to like painkillers, and he's like shell of his former self. There were no regulations. They literally were just doing whatever they
It's insane.
wanted. And so uh, it was just like a real moment in time, and it was just cool to watch it back. It got me very nostalgic about my
I love that.
childhood.
I love that. Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah,
check it out.
had a dope song too. Ba ba da 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 da.
Okay.
Ba ba da 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 na 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 na
I
na
feel like I've
da
heard
na
that.
na.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
that sounds familiar. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that's a good show for anyone who's looking to get nostalgic.
you got a show or a clip that you've watched?
I had a show. I just started the show, first couple episodes, called Midnight Gospel. So this isn't. I'm not normally like a animated show kind of guy, but this came recommended from shout out G Dub Garrett White. Uh,
G
but
Dub,
so
shout
yeah,
out.
it's essentially like Duncan Trussell, who's been on Rogan several times, is a comedian, and he's got his own podcast, the Trussell Family Hour, and this is kind of like a blend of his podcast material, that's like animated into this like universe created by
Uh,
him and I believe the other gentleman's name is Ward. But so like it's kind of like in podcast format when you're watching, and it's just like these crazy, kind of like sci-fi robot like characters. But the thing that like interested me, and kind of like why Garrett told me to watch it, like why it came recommended, because I looked at it off eye test. It's like I'm not watching this shit. Like what is this? But it explores like super deep topics around that we have going on in society. Like the first episode, for example, and I don't want to spoil too much because like I definitely think, like late night, like if you want to think about life, watch Midnight Gospel. But so like the first episode explores topics around addiction, recovery, and like substance in society. So that was like an interesting viewpoint, and kind of like through the animated characters, how they showed how those three things play a role in like how we operate as society. And then the second episode is about like the nature of ego and consciousness. So yeah, I mean, just like bro, like through those two topics, just very futuristic vibes, but visual storytelling with like the podcast layered on top. But yeah, man, my main takeaway is just it makes you think super deeply about life. And I still would say I'm not fully into it. Like cause some things I had to watch back a little bit, but yeah, again, it continues to explore different like deep things that we potentially don't think about all the time, so it's thought provoking. And yeah,
what channel
it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's Midnight
is
Gospel on
Duncan?
Netflix.
Is Duncan Trussell do like one of the voices? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, it's like kind of clips from his pod as far as I'm understanding, and layered
Oh,
over.
okay.
Yeah,
Because his voice is
yeah,
so
yeah,
funny. He's got such a funny voice, and so I'm like just picturing that voice with like animation.
yeah,
I feel like I could see how that would
yeah.
work.
You should
I
watch
because
it.
he sounds like a one of those types of like I could see how that would really be interesting. I gotta check
Yeah,
it out.
you do. Let's jump to a piece of social content, trend, or creator that's on your mind.
Yeah, I got a couple of just
Of
like quick
course you do.
ones. One is, and I was talking to you about this earlier because I've just been watching this guy's clips for a while now, and I honestly can't even remember if I've talked about him before on this podcast. But his name is Kyle Gordon, and he does the old-timey characters. And just every time he pops up on my like for you, he cracks me up. It's just like he does like the 1950s. I feel like as I'm saying it, I feel like I've already talked about him, but he does like the greasers or like the come on,
Yeah,
Tommy,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
tussle,
yeah,
like and then like he'll be like a father from like, back in the day, and he'll just says the most outrageous
yeah, yeah.
things. He he's just so funny, and it's such a niche type of comedy. I think it's
He's
brilliant. So
hilarious. Yeah.
Kyle Gordon, so funny. That's one. Number two is an account called Trav K,
Okay.
right? Um, and it's this guy, he does like comedic bits. He's very funny, but the main thing that kills me that he does is he'll go up to like really attractive girls and he'll just go, "What's your
Yeah.
sign?" And then no matter what their response is, he'll just say, "I can never," and he'll walk away.
And are they always like just left shell, like kind of like what?
Yeah, they're always like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "Fuck you," and like different. I'll say like, "It would never work," and like I'll be like, "No," just like. Like just like walks away the
Yeah,
second.
that's actually fun.
Scorpio, Capricorn. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter what they say. He literally just walks away from them. It's
that is hilarious.
hilarious.
Okay, so if you want a quick laugh, Trav K.
Right, Trav K. And then one other I'll just give a shout out to is an account called Chef
Okay.
Reactions. And it's this guy who shows like cooking
Yeah.
clips. He does like the, what is it when it's like split screen
Yeah, yeah.
duets? Like,
Duets.
you're right. And like depending on like some people like make these videos and they're just like what are they doing, like they're putting like bologna on like with ice cream on it, so he'll just be like no 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 no, like oh god no, and then they're gonna like put hot sauce, oh my god, and like
Yeah,
so he'll like talk shit about the things that are
yeah,
just like look awful, and then the things that look good he'll like he'll appreciate, and he'll be like okay I'll eat that,
yeah.
and like so basically at the end he'll say whether or not he's going to eat it
Okay.
or not. And sometimes like he'll talk shit the entire time, but he'll
Did you
say
say I'll eat that?
basically he'll eat it still. Yeah. So those are like the
Okay.
three main ones that
Yeah.
yeah, I would talk about. What about you?
Yeah. So a couple of mine are strictly on Twitter actually. At Mr. E Flow um on Twitter, Matt Wolf, and both of these are AI content creators, and that's kind of obviously taking a massive storm on social media in general, just the whole AI movement. But like to me, through a bunch of like research and through talking to other people, these are the best two educational content creators in the AI field. So just again, a little bit of value that I want to throw out. But yeah, Matt Wolf kind of reports on news from big companies who, like Microsoft is opening XYZ and doing this with AI and this with, so it's kind of very educational news wise. And then Hey Khan at Hey Khan, Zane Khan, he's does stuff like finding the best AI tools of each week, things that can help your daily life, prompt engineering, tweets, and just yeah. Again, if you want to kind of stay on top of that and stay on top of everything that's going on with AI and that tech, which like I'm super interested in and tapped into right now. Yeah, those are two that I would throw out, and then yeah, just on a lighter note.
Wait, can I ask you a question about
Yeah,
the AI
yeah,
stuff real quick? Are you getting any AI fatigue at all?
no,
I know you're not, but because I'm like sometimes for me it's just it seems like there's so many different things that are
for
popping
sure.
up of like technology that it's like how do I don't
It's
have enough room in my
information
brain.
overload. I agree. I
Yeah.
think that it's one of those things with that depends on the way you're approaching, it, right? Like for me, um, I think just like the opportunity to be able to leverage different platforms to automate things for you, to answer questions for you, to help you with your ideas. Like, bro, it's just a crazy. Imagine Albert Einstein was with you all the time, then times that by 1,000. Like, you've got such a smart language model tool at your disposal, and you're still doing day to day tasks or things that you know don't make sense to you, and that like it's just the opportunity is crazy. I think that again, everyone says like AI is going to take over jobs and do all these things, and you should be scared. I think that actually what it's going to do is there needs to be an individual operating. So the individual who learns about different platforms and is able to utilize AI the best will get said job or will be able to
Mhm.
contribute said and have several different jobs and opportunities. So yeah, man, I'm just super excited about it just in general.
There's already a lot of jobs being created by the fact that people are reporting on
Yeah,
it, right? And like that there's like content around it and there are people that are experts, quote unquote experts that are kind of like giving people kind of information and insights on it. So I feel like in that respect, there is already a lot of opportunity as it relates to AI. But yeah, sometimes I just feel like it's too much. Like I cannot keep up with it. And that's the one part of it. Tell me about the other quick ones that you
The
got.
just the I don't think you've seen this, but it's all over my feed. The trend of like the animated monkey kind of banging a tambourine. It's like the song, and it pretty much shows like it's pretty much on the beat of like, think about what I should spend my money on this weekend. And then there's like, a few different, like maybe some healthy food options and other things. And then it's like as soon as like the casino, like gambling casino comes up,
Yeah.
or like drinks or whatever, like the monkey like gets all excited, starts banging the tambourine. It's like, oh, there you go. And it's just that trend is super funny. So
It's like the it's like the monkey mind,
yeah,
you know. Navala always talks about
exactly.
that. It's that really like how we
Yeah.
are. We're like literally we are monkeys the way that we
So
operate
just yeah,
in that way.
that one cracks me up. And then the other the other like content creator, I guess, comedian though, Theo Vaughn, hilarious man. I
Yeah.
actually think like when I'm scrolling through, Theo is the funniest guy right now, just in the way he is able to storytell. It's hilarious.
He's so funny and he's so unfiltered.
Oh,
But
oh yeah, like anything goes.
like, why does he get the pass of being that on? Like, how is he allowed to say some of
I
the
have
things
no
that he
clue.
says?
Yeah, you're right, because anyone else would be canceled. I have no clue. That is an interesting.
You want to know the craziest thing? Do you know his history, Theo Von? Like, do you know what his first thing was that people know him
No.
for? He was on, and now I'm like forgetting which one, if it was Real World or Road Rules. He was on an MTV reality show back in the
Okay.
day. Like at this point, it must have been like 20 years
Yeah.
ago. And like he had some like thing where he almost got canceled on the show
Oh.
of like being a
Oh
racist.
shit. Okay. And people.
But it turns out that he's really, really funny, and that whatever like happened, like it's like he is now, except back then it was just like at that point it was
Yeah.
unacceptable. But it's crazy how his career has kind of like turned out since then. He's really made such a career for himself, and he's just all over the place on social. I feel like he's
Yeah.
ubiquitous.
Yeah. No. So we had to call him out there, but yeah, those are my content creators.
Maybe we should talk some music
Let's
right
do it.
now. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I'll go.
All right, go. Who you got? Edmonton
I
boy.
had no clue. Mac DeMarco. Mac DeMarco. So yeah, I I came across him probably a month and a half ago. And it's super like lo-fi indie rock kind of vibes. Um,
Wait, don't talk vibes yet. We'll
sorry,
talk vibes in a
sorry.
little.
No, like that's the type of music. That's not even the vibe. That's the type of music.
Okay. All right. Fine.
And so yeah, this old dog is my favorite album of his. Moonlight on the River is the song that anyone who's listening to this should check out. Such a vibe. You need to listen to it after this if you haven't already.
Okay.
But
I
so what's
will.
interesting about Mac DeMarco is he just released his latest album is 199 songs. So all of his unreleased work was put on this album. It's like 9, 10 plus hours worth of songs of his. Like he just released this. It's called One Wayne G. And I had never I screw with the shit. Like I like him. It's just chill. I fuck with it. But I had no clue what like One Wayne G stood for. And it's
Until right before
well,
this
before the pod, I was just
podcast, or
looking it up.
what?
Yeah, it's named after Wayne Gretzky, after his hometown hockey team, the Edmonton Oilers. So
Oh man.
Mac DeMarco is from Edmonton, and so am I. So I just thought that was crazy before, and yeah, I had no clue. So yeah,
Yeah.
well, Mac DeMarco will be featured at other times. I'm sure we'll have him on the pod. I'll link him in Edmonton because yeah, he's a hometown dude. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy. We were talking about it before the pod.
Did the 199 songs that he
So
did, so that wasn't like he didn't take like a 5-year hiatus. You're saying all he did was take his unreleased songs and
exactly,
just
yeah,
compile
yeah.
them into
Like
one
he had
album?
another album that came out earlier this year. This old dog is a couple of years old. Like yeah, he's been releasing albums. It's essentially what he said the reason was an insight to his evolving creative process when he started in 2018 and how the music evolved to 2023 where we are now. I did hear some rumors that like it was one of those things where there was some discrepancy and issues with the producers. And so
Mhm.
he just like again, don't call me on this, but from what I heard, he said fuck it, took all his unreleased stuff and released it as an album himself because he didn't want to get into anything with the producers and have them own it and be able to use it. So that's like a little rumor of why he maybe did that. But yeah, the other thing he said was just that evolving creative process, which I think is super interesting and yeah, just shows like he's a guy. Um, but yeah, man, that's my artist, Mac DeMarco. Who's yours?
Okay, so I'll start with this is a group that I literally discovered, I feel like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I'm so pumped about them just because, like, it's the perfect summer music. It's about to be summer, basically is summer here. And like, I don't know, sometimes I just feel like you get lucky, right? You hear like music, you're like, ah, yes, I'm going to listen to this all summer
Yeah.
long. And so I randomly stumbled upon a group called
Okay.
Drugdealer, right? And mostly this one album called Hiding in Plain Sight. And um, it's just there were like 3 or 4 songs that just like in a row I was just like, who the fuck are these
Yeah.
guys? Like they sound amazing. And like, so it's a song called Valentine, there's one song called Madison, one's called Someone to Love, another one's called Pictures of You. Those are 4 kind of like the standout tracks on that album to me. um, I forgot to even ask this for you, but like I've been trying to tell Cal that I want to do this. Me and you have been trying to, do this thing with the music where we say, let's talk
Yeah.
vibes. And you tell me what the vibes are. That's why I said before, like, don't talk vibes already.
Yeah.
And then I didn't ask you for the vibes. But, anyways, uh, but in terms of the vibes of Drugdealer, it's just got such like a 70s, like yellow tinted
Okay.
glasses. I have a like at a boogie nights, day party type
Yeah.
of thing. Like it's just like really and like there's a girl that I think there's a girl in the band because there's one song that's like just amazing and it sounds like Stevie
Yeah.
Nicks. And then like the main guy singer kind of sounds like I don't even know, like almost like Billy Joel in a way, but
Okay.
it's
That's
not. The
interesting.
music is not
Yeah.
like Billy Joel, and it's just such like summertime vibes. Like I say 1970s, all these things, but like for me, it's like the type of vibes where it's like I'm driving to the bagel spot, like at noon on a Saturday, but driving 10 miles per
Yeah.
hour, like in my Toyota Camry type of vibes. So like
I,
that's why I love it
what
so
I'm
much.
noticing is that again, your music taste seems very seasonal in the sense that again, it's summer, you've got these summer vibes, and then it must switch up completely in the winter in terms of more
Oh,
dark, eerie vibes
I cannot listen to like summertime
in the winter.
music in the
I can't
winter.
either. Yeah. It
Just doesn't like
doesn't
feel
hit.
right,
No.
right? Like I'm gonna put you onto one more guy. And it's funny because like if Drugdealer is kind of reminds me of like Krungbin, like what I mentioned, I think it was 2 pods ago, right? Then this guy reminds me of Riff Raff, who I talked about in the last
Yep.
episode. But there is a guy coming out of Broward County, Florida, named BLP
Okay.
Kosher that I've been talking to my friends a lot
Yeah.
about. Um, he is an enigma wrapped in riddle because he is like this, like white, like but like very like hood, got the gold grill, but he's an Orthodox Jew and he's got like the
Yeah.
payas. But like instead of those, like the little curls that Orthodox Jews has, he has these like 2 like I don't even know what you would call them. They're like big like
Yeah.
dreads basically that stick out of his hat. He wears that and they kind of look like I don't know. He says he's inspired by Kodak Black, so I feel like it's kind of Kodak
Okay.
Black
Yeah.
inspired. And then he wears this hat and it says hockey on it. He's got this whole style, And then his rapping style is just really, really interesting.
Okay, I'll
And
have to check him out.
I don't even know how I would really explain it, but his rhymes are really creative. Like he's got really creative references. He's got a really creative kind of like rhyme
Okay.
flow. And so two songs that I would just throw out there: Mazeltron. I really like that one, which he is featuring Baby Tron, and
Yeah.
they kind of just go back and forth. And it's I don't know, it's like on a tennis court. It's a hilarious video. And then there's another one called Jew on a Canoe. I've been like catching a lot of his videos on like
Yeah.
TikTok, and then they'll show like his live concerts. His concerts seem pretty
Okay.
lit. And one other thing about him that I just thought was interesting is like he's got skate videos that you could also see on TikTok, and he's an amazing skater. So like does all of these crazy tricks. I think he's about to blow up. He's been like on the radar and a couple of these other things, and they're starting to like profile
Okay.
him. Check him out though. BLP
BLP
Kosher.
Kosher.
Always interesting when a really Orthodox Jewish person like becomes a really
Yeah.
kind of the opposite of that type of
Yeah.
rapper.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good shout. Yeah, I'll definitely check him out.
I say always, but that never happens, so that doesn't even make sense. I think we should move on. I'll do a little bit of a segue here and just really quickly, any foods, snacks, or drinks that you want to put me on to?
Yeah. So drinks. Start with drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I a lot lately, through traveling and a couple other things going on that I've been having a lot of old fashions to start, and they
Delicious.
are old fashions are good. The one thing I'll say is the orange needs to be in the drink, and it needs to be a cube, one cube, like one of the big cubes of ice. So not like crushed, not a bunch of ice cubes. The square. You know what I'm talking about. Uh,
Yeah. But what's your like? What's it? Wait. Tell us what's in an old fashioned.
so
Do you know?
yeah, so an old fashioned is bourbon, or so bourbon, and then the orange, correct?
Right. Or like what? A rye or whiskey? I forget what it is.
Yeah. So the ones I live with bourbon, and then it's got the orange slicer zest, a cherry. It's got like bitters. I know it's got like
Yeah.
bitters and then like water. But it's again like I'm pretty sure that's all the ingredients, right? Bourbon.
Well, what type of bourbon do you order it with, or do you just say I'll have an old fashioned like like an amateur?
Most of the time, I'm having why. What do you order it with? I'm curious.
I don't know. I think that's something
Yeah.
that I'd actually
Not
put you
Knob
onto
Creek.
is like if you order a drink, you got to order it with like the right liquor, else they give you the cheapest
I do.
liquor. You know,
I do not like the bourbon that I like, or the whiskey is Knob Creek.
Knob
Yeah,
Creek.
is the one I'm on lately. But what I find like with the old fashions is there's so much discrepancy in terms of like they're not all made
Yeah.
the same, and I don't like sweet drinks. And so there's
Hmm.
been several. I was an old fashioned guy, and I still put people on old fashions. But like, yeah, there's been several that I've had that were too sweet, so I need to either
Too sweet.
switch to just like straight bourbon on the rocks, or this is getting me to my next drink of choice, which is just this
Yeah.
Macallan, which is
What
Scotch.
what number?
So I am not I'm not. I've had Macallan 25 before. That's legit.
Okay.
I like 18. I don't make enough to be drinking 18 all the time, so I'm just having Macallan 12s, like just a stand. But like,
Solid.
yeah, a Macallan 12 solid again, just on the rocks. Got to be the big cube. And yeah, just like a sipping drink out with friends, out for dinner. Like, yeah, if you want to show you're a bit bougie, a little classy, get a Macallan. Like, yeah, man, the Macallans just are hitting lately. So yeah, I normally do the 12. How about you?
The 12. Like I'm not Mr. Fancy Pants over here. I can't like I
Can you
just
tell the difference
12
though?
is
Have
good
you
enough.
had the different three?
I
You can
have.
tell,
And
like,
to me it's like honestly when it comes to like different types of like wine specifically, I literally can't tell. I
oh, really? I
cannot
can
tell the
tell. I can
difference.
tell a better wine from a cheap.
I'm not my palate is not that sophisticated. So I just Macallan 12, usually hits for me every time.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, those are the two drinks, and then the one food piece that I'll put you onto it just as a starter. Um, and I was always one of those people who said like, yo, for any like legit seafood, you got to be by the ocean. Like you got to be somewhere where it's fresh. You're getting by the ocean. And you know, I would live and die by that. But I recently had the best shrimp cocktail I've ever had in Indianapolis, at a spot called, why is the name St. Elmo's
Okay.
Steakhouse. And man, the horseradish and like just the kick of the sauce, it was knock your socks. Like I could eat this 3 to 4 times a week and be feeling so healthy and clean because it's clearing my palates. Like if you would have cold, you'd have been done because you take a bite and the shrimp's super fresh. You take a bite of this though, and it hits you, and you're like, your face is on fire, your nose, you can't breathe for like 10, 15 seconds, but it just clears you up. And then the rest of the food was so good because I felt like I had such a clear mind, a clear sense, a clear palate. So shrimp cocktail. Again, not all created the same, but
I'm shaking my head no because I'm just sad because I don't even know if you know this about me, but I'm allergic to shellfish, and it wasn't it hasn't been my entire life. It happened to me later in life,
that
and
sucks.
shrimp cocktail used to be my number one.
Are you
Like I used to
serious?
love a shrimp cocktail.
Have you,
Yeah, who
and you
doesn't love a
never had the
shrimp
St.
cocktail?
Elmo's shrimp cocktail? I'm assuming.
I haven't had shrimp cocktail in like 10 years because once I found out I was allergic, I just stopped eating it basically.
Damn.
But
Right.
I miss it. I miss it. You were making like me my mouth
Yeah.
water. Um, yeah, sounds delicious. Okay, I have a couple drinks and I have a food, right? So first drink, I do like sweet drinks. As I get older, I kind of less and less like sweet drinks, but in the summertime, I think a couple of years ago, I went on a vacation with my wife for our anniversary, and we went to Bermuda.
Bro, we
And
talked about
while
this, yeah, because I recently went to Bermuda.
right, right. And while I was there, I think I drank maybe 30, 40 dark and stormies.
In a
And
long
ever
period of
since
time.
then, over the course of like, I'm exaggerating, but I drank a lot of dark and stormies over the course of like 6 days,
Oh, 60 to
right?
40 and 60. That's not bad. I thought we were talking about
Yeah,
days.
I definitely didn't drink that many. But the point being is after that, I came back and I just was like, I like dark and stormies, and especially in the summertime, nice little dark rum with ginger beer.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. You know, if you want to switch it up, I think sometimes a lot of people are just like they get stuck in their liquor of like what they usually drink. Like they'll be like, I'm a tequila person. I go
Yeah.
out, I order like tequila, or I get vodka, or I'm a whiskey person. And sometimes you just have to switch it up. So I really don't drink those a lot, but seasonally I like them.
Did you have the swizzle? It's in because in Bermuda,
Um,
it's the dark and stormies and the swizzles, and the swizzles are actually the most popular.
yeah, what is the Swizzle? I vaguely remember
It's
that.
like it's similar, like pineapple juice, orange juice, black seal
Right.
rum, cherry. There's like some cream in it. I don't love them, but
Anything you put a cherry in, like I'm a sucker for like cherries, maraschino
yeah,
cherries. Ooh,
yeah, yeah,
those are the best. All right, another drink on the ginger tip is I'm a big fan of putting ginger ale in anything.
I love
And so
tequila. Yeah,
like
me too.
one of my favorite things to put ginger ale in is tequila.
Okay.
It makes it just taste, in my mind, kind of like makes it taste like cream soda.
Yeah.
Um, if you put it into rum, same thing, kind of makes it taste like cream
Any rum and
soda.
ginger ale.
Ah, delicious. If you put it in like a Captain Morgan or like what anything, it to me ginger ale with any type of liquor. I'm a big fan of ginger ale with Casamigos like Reposado.
Okay.
That's a nice little summertime drink. So uh yeah, that's not really like a specific drink, but it's put some ginger ale into your next alcoholic
Okay.
beverage.
Deal. Food.
And then from a food perspective, like this is something that most people that I'm friends with know about me. I'm like a diehard French onion soup guy.
Yeah.
If a French onion soup
Right.
is on the menu, it's really hard for me not to order a
That's what I
French
was
onion
gonna ask. Okay.
soup. But the thing is, there's a lot of times I don't because it's also like socially awkward to go out with like a lot of people
Be the only
at
guy
like a
having
nice
soup.
restaurant. Yeah, and everybody's sharing appetizers, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get the soup, and it's like, then it makes you kind of feel like the outcast at the
Yeah.
table where everybody's sharing things. And then like you feel guilty if you like take some of the things that they're sharing. And so there's that whole situation. I like a really good French onion soup with the well done top of it, like the cheese well
Yeah.
done. I will literally pick the cheese off of the crock, like on the side, the Gruyere. Love that.
My
And
mouth is watering now. Yeah.
yeah, me and my one of my buddies, we always joke around about the fact of like he makes fun of me with French onion soup, and he's like, "Oh, we could get a group soup where everybody could like
Yeah.
drink it
I'll share.
together,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the group soup." So, but yeah, I guess I'm not really putting people onto that, but like, and I'm not really putting you onto that, but just I need to acknowledge French onion soups as being the number one soup of all soups, just to me at least.
The only one that I would say would compete in my mind is Italian wedding soup, but that's a conversation for another day.
Interesting. I have so many soups I like. Italian wedding soup doesn't crack my top 10.
That's insane. Well, we'll have to hear your top 10 on
Another SFV
yeah,
clip that's outside of
on
this
a clip.
episode.
Yeah, we'll rank soup. Should we move on to the other segment?
Yeah, I feel like we're at the
Yeah,
end right now,
yeah,
aren't we?
we're closing it out, and
We're humming. We are really cranking in this episode.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we're still over an hour here, but yes. Um, but so yeah, any and I can go first, but life takeaways to kind of wrap things up.
you know, Before you get into it, I just want to say one thing where it's like when I think life takeaways, it's funny. We have always talked about this being kind of like like personal development themed in a lot of
Yeah,
ways because we're always trying to get better and improve our lives and all these things. And I think like that is what to me like life takeaways are about is just trying to like be cognizant of the things that happen in your
yeah,
life and acknowledge them and try and learn from them and
and
grow.
and make life more enjoyable.
Totally. So give me what is your life takeaway?
Yeah. So my takeaway, and I think this does apply to everyone, if not most people, but for me, I need something that stimulates me, like, and I'm talking every day, on a day to day be enjoying and to be in my best state of mind. I need something that stimulates me physically that day, stimulates me mentally, and I'm gonna throw in socially in there as well. And so what I mean by that is again like every day I want to either be some sort of workout, some that's getting me going physically, increasing the blood, increasing my breathing, etc. And then mentally, like again, whether that's that can come from work, but whether that's a bunch of people playing chess, doing other things to stimulate yourself mentally, and then socially, just like again talking to people. We always go back to at the end of the day, the most important thing is relationships. So just continuing to build relationships with people in your life and do new things and experience new things, kind of on a day to day basis, and just again, we're social creatures. We need social interaction, which is why something like COVID was so fucking tough. But yeah, that's kind of my life takeaway, and takeaway from this all as of recently being in touch with myself and just figuring that out. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I like that. The physically, mentally, and socially, it really feels like if you hit those three things, like, and you have like, um, you're cognizant of those things and trying to actually pay attention and do things to kind of attack each one of those. I feel like you're going to be in a good place. And
Yeah,
sometimes I know for myself, like physically, let's just say, I sometimes like lose that. And like, so I worked out the other day. I hadn't worked out in months,
yeah,
and I'm like, oh man, what am I doing? Like I need to get in. I realized like I need to get in shape.
Don't you just feel like I was just at the gym right before this, and just like you, I feel so good. Like I feel clear. The body feels good. You fuel up after. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's the same thing mentally and socially. It's like sometimes when you're out, you're like, oh man, I haven't been out in a while. Or like sometimes you just feel like I you need to decompress and
Yeah,
like you
there's
need to
talent.
do the thing, like go for the
Yeah,
walk, right? Like so it's always trying to have a great balance between all of those things. And it's tough. It's tough to
it
do.
is. It really is. But yeah, that's mine. What's yours?
It's a couple things. I think I think first off, one that I saw the other day, I think it was like a tweet, like a Robert Greene tweet,
Okay.
basically talking about how, don't take action when you're angry,
Okay.
right? And it really kind of like resonated with me because I think a lot of times what I'll do is I'll have these moments where, let's just say at work, where all of a sudden like I get an email that I'm just like annoyed by and that I'll have to respond to. And in the moment, that
Yeah.
frustration, I'll start writing the email and I'll write it all out. And then I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to send this email right now. Like, let me step away for an
It's moments.
hour,
Yeah.
whatever. Let me come back to this. And so basically, I'll come back to it and then I'll be like, thank God I didn't send
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
email because it'll been like the most contentious thing. And it's one of those things that I think it's something that I've definitely learned as I've gotten older. Like when I was younger, just
Yeah.
impulse, like react right away,
I
and
feel it
so a lot of
100%.
times, yeah. So a lot of times, like I think it's a great exercise is to write out the thing and then just not send it.
I
And
like
then
that.
go back and look at it
Yeah.
and see like basically if you start to recognize the fact that every single time you do that you're about to send something like you'll start to pay attention to it and realize like this is a good little way of getting that blowing off that steam without actually getting yourself in trouble. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Let me see what else. Here's the other kind of like thing that I've been thinking about is just basically the conversations that we have with ourselves, right? And a
Yep.
lot of times I'll notice that like, whether I'm in like the shower or like if I don't know, I'll just say something to myself. A lot of times it's like really not the nicest things that I say to myself. I'll say things like sometimes I say things that I don't even mean but they come out of my mouth.
Okay.
And
Like.
so yeah, like I'll say I hate my life. That those words come out of my
Like
mouth.
just
I'll
to
say that
yourself.
to
Just to
myself.
yourself.
Just randomly. And it's usually in a moment where like I've had a tough day and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
things haven't gone my way or I'm just like overwhelmed or whatever. Or I'll say like, you're such an idiot. Like to my, like to myself, like you're such a fucking
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I really have to like pay attention to that because when you say those things to yourself, like it has an effect on it's like some sort of natural thing of how you feel about yourself.
That's
And so,
that's in, that's interesting that like you're saying that though, because like over life I go the opposite way where I'm like, bro, the amount of times that like I'll be like going in the shower or like I'll be like cooking or like I'll be and I just like think about like I just kind of say to myself like life is good and I'm just kind of like thinking and and I say that to my or like I'll just randomly I'll just like fist bump like I'll just be like yes and like it's just super so I'm going the other way but I definitely know exactly what you're saying and I had that before so yeah, that's it. I just wanted to share.
yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. That part of it, like, it's hard to explain why that happens, and I think it speaks to something like that we've discussed in the past about like the inner dialogue
Yeah,
that's going
yeah,
on, and that sometimes I guess it goes from inside your brain to it just comes out of your
yeah,
mouth, and like you're always kind of having that inner dialogue. But I think it definitely has an impact on me. And so a lot of times just the part of acknowledging, like, hey, like, you don't hate your
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
you're not an
thoughtful.
idiot.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, you're doing the best that you can, almost like having that conversation back and like just kind of level setting in a way.
yeah. No, I hear that, and I think that so many people definitely could take that, including myself, and just again be thoughtful around what we're actually thinking and saying.
Yeah, you got to be kinder to yourself and just give yourself a break, and not be so tough on yourself. I know a lot of people that are really hard on themselves, and I get it,
Yeah,
because I do that to myself just all the time. So, yeah, that's my takeaway for
cool. Well,
this
I
week.
think that wraps up episode 8 of the Put On Pod. Thank you to everyone for listening. We appreciate you all. We appreciate all the support. Check us out on socials at the Put On Pod. And yeah, have an amazing rest of your day. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning into the Put On Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to follow us on social at the Put On Pod.